Hi, it's me again. And yeah, I mean, from the outside, we all see that the BBC's a complete waste of money. But from the inside, you're like, oh, please don't let the BBC stop getting money because I'm riding the gravy train all the way to the grave. Look at this. BBC faces £1.7 billion bill to foot huge pension packages paid to top stars and directors. I mean, that is part of how they attracted the talent. The BBC's never paid top money. It pays good money to talent of the BBC, but it's never paid top money they could get on commercial channels or Sky or whatever. One of the attractions of working at the BBC, pucker pension. £1.7 billion bill. Over what time? Let's have a look, let's read it. The BBC has handed out hefty pensions to its top stars and executives, with it now facing a £1.7 billion bill, limiting investment into programming. Documents seen by the Telegraph reveal that the BBC said its pension bill is not justifiable, and the corporation cannot expect the government to require licence fee payers to pay more to cover the cost of pensions. Right, so how are they going to cover the cost of these pensions if it's not licence fee payers? Because they're not commercial. BBC Studios is, but we're not talking about BBC Studios here. We're talking about the BBC that you pay your lovely 159 quid. I hope you don't pay your 159 quid a year to. So if they can't get the money from licence fee payers, where's the money coming from? So the only way they can make this bill is by bringing in more money. The only way they can bring in more money, more licence fees. There's no other way. The corporation is in a financial crisis, locked in a legal battle as it tries to reduce its pension payouts. From March 2020 to the end of 28, the broadcaster plans to pay a total of £1.7 billion to help balance the books, a cost of around £70 for every licence fee payer. So it is over 6 years, so 70 quid for every licence fee payer over 6 years, a little over a tenner, isn't it? So it's not the end of the world. But if your licence fee today goes up by a tenner, it'll be 169, but they reckon it's going to go up with inflation, it's going to end up in the 170s, don't they? Now chuck an extra tenner a year on that to pay people's pensions, because the BBC cannot and will not make its own money. They could just go commercial and make their own money, but then they probably wouldn't be able to pay 1.7 billion over the next 6 years to pensions. BBC employees who joined before 2010 were offered retirement packages which rise in line with inflation and allow retirement at 60, 6 years before the state pension age. A BBC employee in the scheme could be entitled to 2/3 of their final salary when they reach retirement. So if you've worked at the BBC long enough to get to retirement age of 60, you're probably going to be bordering around a six-figure salary. Right? I'm not saying all of them will, but even if you say 50 to £100,000 salary. That's probably the average of where these retirees will be who have been at the BBC long enough to get that pension. They're going to be entitled to 2/3 of that as a pension payment that rises in line with inflation. Now, if you're an employee now, you're entitled to 100% of your current salary, but has that risen in line with inflation? I'm a full-time employee. I've got a proper job. This isn't my job. Mine hasn't risen in line with inflation. Has yours? But they're going to get 2/3 of whatever their final salary was for retirement, and it's going to rise with inflation. It's not a bad gig being at the BBC. I might, before it goes tits up, I might start working on my CV and do something to go and work on the BBC gravy train myself. I wouldn't mind that. I would love to have 2/3 of my final salary rising in line with inflation during my retirement. I could live very comfortably off that. That'd be lovely, wouldn't it? Tough at the top. Nearly 7,000 staff are still paying into the old pension scheme at the BBC, and it has been closed to new joiners since 2010. But it has become so expensive that it now takes up more than 80% of the broadcaster's spending on retirement benefits, despite covering fewer than 40% of its staff. Yeah, there you go. How are they going to get out of this one? I don't know a lot about pensions. I don't know what they can do here. How are they going to get out of this one? Because that's a big chunk of change that they're going to have to find for a long time. And these people retire, they're still getting their BBC pension. Where are they going to find this money from? How are they ever going to go commercial? How? Well, they get 3.7 billion off licence fee payers at the minute. That's going to go up, obviously. But let's say tomorrow they started showing ads. They wouldn't be at 3.7 billion right away. It'd probably take them a good long time to get back up to that, if they ever could. So what, 1.5 billion to run their media empire? It'd be done, be bankrupt overnight, wouldn't it? Is this why they're not getting rid of the licence fee? Is this why? Because if I had the old style pension at the BBC, I would protect the BBC for everything I'm worth, because I want my pension. Bollocks to the rest of society, I want my pension. Is this why? What do you think about this? Are you on a pension? I know many of my viewers are older viewers. Are you on a pension? Wouldn't you like a bit of that as your pension? Oh, I know I would. My pension ain't going to be nothing like that. Let me know your thoughts on it down in the comments below. As always, thanks for watching. Hit all the buttons and everything while you're down there. And if you do that, hopefully I'll get to see you in another video again soon, won't I? Ta-da!